The first modern inversion debuted in 1975 on Knott's Berry Farm's Corkscrew. Ever since then, coaster manufacturers have found countless ways to flip riders upside down. Some rides just flip you around with your standard elements. Others do it in a way that stands out. These are elements you actually look forward to. I went through my entire credit list, 531 coasters strong, and I found 30 individual inversions that I thought were worthy. So why not rank them all up? These are my all-time favorite inversions. Before we get started, if you can drop this video a like, I'd appreciate it. It helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. Number 30. Viper at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the double corkscrews. You'll find these on a lot of arrows, but the ones on Viper stand out to me. After the Batwing, you hit a set of trims, and then you go into these two perfectly circular corkscrews really slow. They're beautiful to look at while you're in them, and they give some great hang time before the ride ends. Number 29. The Big Apple Coaster at New York, and Las Vegas, the Dive Loop. This coaster has a pretty bad design, but this element is pretty awesome. It's not like your normal B&M dive loop. This one is rising up, flips you completely upside down, hangs you there, and you pull out of it pretty fast. You fall out of your seat and then get slammed hard back down. That's not all that pleasant, but I still like this element for its weirdness. Number 28. Copperhead Strike at Carowinds, the JoJo Roll. I could have picked the one on Hydra at Dorney Park also, but since this one is lap bars, I think it's better. Most inversions are taken with some speed, even if it's not much speed, and Copperhead Strike is excellent at the slow, hang-time filled inversion, but this one absolutely crawls into the roll, right out of the station, and it's so much hang time it's almost uncomfortable. It's a genius way to start a ride. Number 27. El Loco at Adventure Dome, the Dive Loop. Vegas loves a good dive loop, and this one is even crazier than the one on Big Apple. Just like that one, this one flips you over and hangs you there, mind you, with just a lap bar, and it does break you on the way down, but it's really not a big deal. You still get to enjoy all that hang time before the breaks, so this is a really nice way to end the ride. Number 26. X2 at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the Flip Hill. This is officially listed with 2 inversions, and this isn't one of them, but there's no denying, this is an inversion. After the first Raven turn, you head into what looks like an airtime hill, but the extra rails flip the train completely around 360 degrees. Of all the crazy moments on X2, this one seems to be the most out of control. You're going full speed ahead, and suddenly you're flipping completely around. It's an underrated great moment. Number 25. Storm Runner at Hershey Park, the Flying Snake Dive. I do like this inversion, that's why it's on the list, but I rank it way lower than most people do. The train rises up, goes into a heartline roll, and right out of that, it twists again in the same direction and dives back to the ground. It's a dizzying element, getting those 2 twists with the added bonus of picking up all that speed from diving back down. Number 24. Batman the Ride, the Wingovers. Batman clones are known for tearing through their course, and it seems like it only picks up speed as it goes along. By the end of the ride, it's flying, and you go into these 2 corkscrew type elements, and these really try to rip your feet off. I love intensity on inverted coasters, and this is not the last of the inverted coasters on this list. Number 23. Flight Deck at California's Great America, the Corkscrew. This inversion isn't anything special, but it has a lot of personality. After the first half of the ride, the train rises over the station, and you see that finale right there in front of you. You have a gradual drop right into that whippy corkscrew, and that intense helix over the lake. That 1-2 punch to end the ride is one of the great finales of all time, so the corkscrew has to make the list. Number 22. Wicked Cyclone at Six Flags New England, the Zero-G Stall. I love where this is positioned, and how the train enters this inversion. After the big turnaround and a speed hill, Wicked Cyclone banks right and rises back into its lift hill, flipping you over and then back upright in the same direction. This looks great no matter where you're standing, and it's whippy when you're on the train. Number 21. Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, the Zero-G Roll. This isn't just any Zero-G roll. That's why RCDB shows it as a variant. After the Great Outer Banked Hill, you go into kind of a double up that ends in a Zero-G roll, but when you're done with it, you immediately turn to the right. It almost feels like you're starting a new roll as you're pulling out of it. Number 20. Volcano the Blast Coaster at King's Dominion, the Rollout. I don't think I have to justify why this one's awesome. You start at the bottom of the volcano, then 2 sets of LAMs propel you to 70 miles an hour, and in the dark, you go straight up and out the top, being flipped over on your way out. This is an acrobatic, brilliant move, and this is the only inversion on my list that is defunct. Number 19. Incredible Hulk at Islands of Adventure, the Zero-G Roll. The Hulk has a lot of good intense inversions, but nothing's better than the Zero-G Roll out of the tunnel. You go up that crazy lift tunnel, and suddenly you're launched out of it and straight into this roll. As you pull out of it, you fall into the ride's max drop of 105 feet. It's a perfect way to set the tone for this ride. Number 18. Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, the Zero-G Roll. This is also sometimes known as the Heaven Roll, and I think the name really fits. After diving off the cliff, Iron Rattler launches you back up to the sky and into this roll. Once you pull out of it, you realize you're back on the quarry wall. This is the ride's only inversion, and I think it's a perfect place for it. Number 17. Steel Hog at Indiana Beach, the inline twist. The great thing about this twist is the angle. You just don't see inversions taken at a downward angle like this. Well, there is that new one in Florida, but I haven't ridden this one yet. For any of you wondering, I'll get down there at the end of the summer. Back to Steel Hog. It just feels chaotic to get the whip of flipping around while you're falling, and that's why this one stands out. Number 16. Max Force at Six Flags Great America, the Heartline Roll. We've talked about the slow inversions and how fun those are. Well, this is the world's fastest inversion. You take this at 60 miles an hour and it's pretty great. As lackluster as this layout is, I can't complain about the Heartline Roll. Your body isn't used to taking inversions that fast, so the intensity and whip of this one is really noticeable. Number 15. B&M Wing Coasters, near miss inversions. I kinda cheated on this one. I couldn't decide which one was the best. Gatekeeper has those awesome rolls through and around the keyhole. Thunderbird has that great inline twist through the roof of a barn. X-Flight also has an awesome drawn-out long inline twist through a tower, and that does the job of freaking you out. The inversions themselves are okay, but the near-miss element makes them special. Number 14. Montu at Busch Gardens Tampa, the Batwing. I mentioned I wasn't done with inverts. Well, here it is. I love intensity on inverts, and the most intense moment on an invert that I can think of is Montu's Batwing. It feels like the whole ride is building up to this moment. It goes into it with so much speed, and it dives into a trench just to gain more speed. When you hit the bottom of those two inversions, that's about as intense as it gets for a B&M invert. Number 13. Skyrocket 2s, the inline twist. These are the same on all of them. The only difference is the lap bar versus the comfort collar. There are two great things about this. First, it's 150 feet off the ground. You launch and twist up to the max height, and being tipped over that high up is kind of unnerving. Second, you take this so slow that you get some really nice hang time. Hang time at that height, sometimes with just a lap bar. That's crazy. Number 12. Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast at Six Flags Over Texas and St. Louis, the Top Hat. From a slow, graceful inversion to a fast one that tries to break your neck, the Top Hat is one of the most intense inversions out there. You fly straight up, twist upside down, and then twist straight down. Best part, you get to do this forward and backward. They're both equally as intense, but doing it backward is crazier because you can't see it coming. Number 11. Velocicoaster at Islands of Adventure, the Mosasaurus Roll. This may be some people's number one, but I wasn't quite as impressed. It's still a great inversion, taking place right over the water. It's a completely flat barrel roll. It reminds me of the roll that Maverick removed right before it opened. You're on a flat plane, and you just get flipped underneath the track and back upright. It's a great finale for an epic ride. Number 10. Nighthawk at Carowinds, and Batwing at Six Flags America, the Vertical Loop. The loop is a pretty standard inversion, but taking that on while lying down is a whole different ballgame. If you're not familiar, I'd say the forces are similar to a B&M pretzel loop, just not quite as intense. You back into it so you're looking at the other side of the loop, then you reach the top where you're face down. Then you do a head-first dive down and continue on backwards. It's still intense and definitely weird, and one of the more unique experiences on this list. Number 9. Wonder Woman at Six Flags Fiesta Texas and Railblazer at California's Great America, the Dive Loop. Here's why this inversion is great. You can get an amazing experience in the front or the back, just for totally different reasons. In the front, you get a powerful pop of ejector airtime when you crest the hill. In the back, you get dragged around and down, an incredibly whippy element. Number 8. Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, the Zero-G stall. We talked about that Zero-G roll variant, and this one takes place right after that. The train wraps around the lift hill and goes right back into it, flips you upside down, leaves you there, and then absolutely whips you back upright as you dive down. Not only is this a great whippy inversion, it looks amazing front and center as people walk towards a ride. It's the best inversion on Steel Vengeance, and the best inversion at Cedar Point. Number 7. Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City, the Double Barrel Roll. After an out-of-control ride, tearing through its terrain layout, full of airtime and twists and turns, the train starts rising up, and suddenly you're flipping upside down, not once, but twice. As you're rising up, you're losing speed, so by the time you're finishing your second roll, you're not going all that fast, leaving the back of the train with some good hang time. This is a crazy inversion, and one of the most brilliant finales on any coaster. Number 6. Cannibal at Lagoon, the Lagoon Roll. As great as the 116-degree drop is, some people may argue the best part of the ride is the Lagoon Roll. This comes after the mid-course brake run. You take a left turn, and that turns into a roll. When you come out of it, it leaves you sideways, then flips you over the other way over a pool of water. It's two great hang time moments, all with a lap bar. Two inversions you won't find anywhere else. Number 5. Monster at Adventureland, the Dive Loop. Of all the amazing elements Monster has to offer, the Dive Loop was my favorite. This is the third element of the ride, and it pops up as if it's an airtime hill, but almost out of nowhere. The train twists and dives to the right, providing some insane whip. On a ride pack full of awesome elements, including a 133-foot drop at 101 degrees, the dive loop stands as the best. Number 4. Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City, the Zero-G Roll. Imagine all the fun of a Zero-G roll, just while the cars are spinning. This makes it one of the most chaotic inversions I've ever experienced. This has 3 inversions and they're all great, but because this one is lower to the ground and taken with more speed, that makes the spinning Zero-G roll one of the best inversions in the country. Number 3. Full Throttle at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the Vertical Loop. There haven't been many loops on this list, but this one deserves a spot. Not just any spot, a top 3 spot. After the first launch, the train goes directly into a 160-foot loop, once the world's tallest. If you ask Six Flags, they still claim it is. When you reach the top, the train slows down to a crawl. It's amazing, I've never seen this roll back. With just your lap bar, you feel your body start falling out of your seat, into your seatbelt and then your lap bar, all while looking at the park upside down, 160 feet in the air. It's got the thrill, it's got the visuals, it's great to look at. Dare I say, it's iconic. Number 2. Skyrocket at Kennywood, the Zero-G Roll. I was not expecting this to be so great, but it blew my mind. After the top hat and the cutback, Skyrocket rises into a Zero-G roll, and for me, life was never the same. In the back row, with space between my lap and the bar, I flew out of my seat as we were rising into it, and I didn't land until we were clear out of it. I was suspended in midair, being whipped around 360 degrees. Just a brilliant element. Number 1. Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain, the Top Gun stall. You can include just about any RMC drawn-out stall here. You have these on rides like Joker at Discovery Kingdom or Goliath at Great America. The reason Twisted Colossus gets the nod is the dueling factor. When the trains line up just right, you can see the other train getting some insane ejector airtime right beneath you. Meanwhile, you're flipped upside down, and time seems to slow down. You just let your body go limp, and you're completely weightless. You also get great whip coming in and going out. The forces are great. The visuals of the train below you add to it. I don't think I'm alone when I say the Top Gun stall is my all-time favorite inversion. That's a wrap on my favorite inversions. You may notice some missing on here, like Maverick's Horseshoe Roll, or Kumba's Hell Roll, or just about any B&M Zero-G roll. Those just don't stand out for me as much as these do. Let me know what you think about this list, and which inversions you consider your favorite. Sound off in the comments below. Before you go, don't forget to drop a like, and if you're new here, give me a sub for more content just like this. Also, see my links below for my Discord server, and my second channel where I post copyright-free off-ride footage, and my baseball channel if baseball happens to spark your interest also. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.